Mandarin X, here. So I'm frustrated because when I see a lot of people using Google Translate, ping, 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 and then I just don't think that's accurate at all. Because me personally speak 2 languages myself since I was a kid. And most of the time, I know it's super easy when you just type in English and a Chinese translation comes out within seconds. Who doesn't like that? But again, that can't help with communications. And most of the time, the translation is just so funny, and that doesn't write at all. So if you look at the data, that's surprising, because almost 250,000 population in China, they're learning English. But when you look at here, only 200,000 people learning Mandarin, less than 1% in the United States. Given the huge role that China plays in terms of historical, economic, it's so very important that speaking Chinese is considered as a must-have skill of the 21st century, especially amongst American-born Chinese families. And that brings a lot of possibility of jobs and business opportunities. So Ping, that's an app. If you're interested, I actually have a beta version with me. You got 10 minutes, and you're waiting for your next pitch, or you're just arriving at the airport. And you want to just find somebody that you want to talk to. And there's no Uber in China, only Didi. So you got to call someone, a professional, so they can help you within some of the survival Mandarin, or just talk you through how you are going to be survived. Download the Didi or another version of the Google search. My team comes from very high-end academic institution. My CAO sits in MIT, and our faculty members are all from Harvard, USC, MIT. Based on the previous success that we've already created, 80% of completion rate versus only 5% in MOOCs, that's super rare. 93 certification, and then the growth rates, we've already reached 207,000 students already. So compared to Duolingo, I would say, if you spend less than $20 a month, you'll be able to ping someone. But it's not someone, it's certified teachers. It's professionals who you can talk to, real time, pay as you go, on demand, wherever, whenever. We're currently looking for funding. If you're investors or tech team, I'm happy to chat more. Thank you very much. It's covered because we have the old product, which are the videos that they can access wherever, whenever. And then it's pretty much like you pay to the Skype credits, right? Hi.
So let's imagine you are in Shanghai and you go to a market. How can this help you understand what is going on over there?
Well, so you can view that as a mobile translator, but more than that, we care about communication. So you can either have this person, this business coach or certified teacher help you with some sentences, or you can just have them translate for you. But I would suggest definitely mimic the sentence that native speakers say. Then that's the best way to learn the language. I believe I saw your raise. I saw you. Well, that's a very good question. So my dissertation is all about why our MOOC success. And then, well, but my master's degree was working on the language. For tonal, it's never going to get there unless you get your yourself exposed to the environment like all the time. There's really no, because some people they are so adjusted to listening, but some are just good at like, you know, the tones, the markers. So that really depends on individuals. No, you don't have to move to Taiwan. You'll be here, and then you'll just ping somebody, and somebody all over the world. It's actually, we got 400 teachers on board in China, in Beijing and Shanghai, and another 50 in Singapore and 50 in Taiwan. So you get the variety to choose whether you want to go which accent, but I would say our certified teachers, they speak standard.
All right, that's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning, good morning. Can everyone hear me all right? Cool. Awesome response. All right, good morning. My name is Daniel, and this is my co-founder, Todd, and we're going to displace the TI calculator. ClassCalc locks student smartphones into a sophisticated calculator app that gives teachers class control and eliminates the need for single-purpose calculators like the TI. Our team brings a powerful combination of user and product knowledge as well as business operations experience. I am a math nerd. I've been a math tutor for a decade and an AP physics teacher, and have developed a deep passion for math and science.
And I'm a co-founder, a serial entrepreneur with multiple exits. I was the co-founder that helped scale GoGuardian from 0 to 10 million in ARR in 30 months. And GoGuardian was acquired by Somero Equity Partners last year for over $100 million. The status quo calculator has remained relatively unchanged for the last quarter century. Today, it is a single-purpose, standalone device in a smart device world. Using this status quo calculator and not using student smartphones as an educational tool damages teachers, schools, and students. Teachers waste valuable instruction time teaching to the nuances of a non-intuitive calculator and by managing smartphones in the classroom. Schools can't achieve the equity that they want because many families can't afford the $100 required calculator. And students do not want to buy or carry extra devices.
We're going to show you how ClassCalc resolves these issues with an elegant little demo. Let's hope it works. Boom. On the left, we've got the teacher web app. She has a list of her virtual classrooms, chooses Algebra 2, and starts test mode. All of her students in that classroom will immediately receive an invite to join test mode. And once they join, they'll be locked to the confines of ClassCalc, with all outside notifications, distractions, and applications, as well as the power button and the home button being temporarily blocked out. They only have access to our scientific, matrix, and graphing calculator. Now, because this is running on student devices, they can exit the test at any given time by clicking Exit Test at the top left corner. But once they do that, they'll be warned that if they continue to leave, the teacher will be immediately notified. And once they leave, the teacher is immediately notified, and the student is marked with a little red dot, as you can see next to Isaac Newton's name, giving the teacher class control and class visibility.
As you just saw, ClassCalc is a winning solution that increases instruction time, class control, and equity. Teachers save instruction time by turning a distracting phone into an intuitive, secure learning tool. And schools improve equity by providing the same sophisticated calculator to every student. Students win by using an intuitive app on their own smartphone, and they save $150.
So we validated our value proposition with 3 schools and 300 students. We presented at NCTM, a math conference last week, and walked out with 100 new pilots. And in the future, what we plan to do is open our management layer so that that smartphones can be unlocked in all classrooms. So teachers will be empowered to make use of Khan Academy, Kahoot, and Duolingo without the distraction of Snapchat, Facebook, and Instagram getting in the way.
I helped my last early stage investor return 75 times his investment. Hope I can help do the same with ClassCalc.
Sorry, we went over time a bit, but. Ashish? Hey.
I just listened to a show about this. It was somewhere on NPR in the last 6 months. Their claim was, and I understood this, there's a reason that a handful of calculators that are dinosaur era still exist is that they're dumb and they're not internet enabled, and therefore they are allowed on a variety of exams. And so what do you think with a smartphone is not
Yeah, so I think that's what they say because they want it to stay that way. Can't really speak for what people are deciding out there, although I do know there are some people in this room that are affiliated with such exams, and I can't speak for them, but I think that even they are looking towards the future and understand that in one way or another, technology will make its way into classrooms across the board in classrooms.
We've just developed the technology that allows these devices to be locked and secure in those environments. That's part of the solution for the ACTs, the college boards, that we are currently working with as well.
You have to get buy-in from them and get the app certified.
Correct.
For those environments, yes.
Yes. John.
So when I was going to high school, we have this policy that if ever a student sees the student with a phone, the teacher will take away the phone until the parents pick it up. How do you solve that problem?
So that's actually what's going on now. Students want to use their smartphones because that's what is literally at the end of their arm all the time. They don't want to carry around a secondary device, and they bring that out in the classroom. And teachers waste instruction time saying, let's use the shoe tree, put all of your phones in there, and then no, you can't take that phone out in the middle of class. I don't care how important that text is. Now they walk in, and even setting the calculator aside, they can lock down students' smartphones for any subject. And that's what we roll to. So that now, instead of a distraction, this is a math tool, a learning tool, an educational tool for every classroom. And it should be. It has 93 times the processing power of a TI calculator. And it, as you said, took us to the moon, right? So why don't we use it for education?
You did say that.
Okay.
Does it do RPN?
I don't think anyone wants that anymore. Sorry.
Great.
What are the educator export capabilities from the app from the teacher perspective? Are they able to extract data so that they can engage in error analysis to identify opportunities for reteaching?
Yeah, so you're really thinking towards the future, and we do too, and that's in the battle plans. We don't have it right now, but we do believe there's some incredible data available from what the students are doing with the computers, how they're using the calculator, where they're making mistakes, things like what John Lee here is working on. And we do want to make that available in the future.
All right, guys, thanks.
Cool,
Great.
thank you so much. Feel free to come and say hi.
Hello. The curriculum for a marketing degree is not the same curriculum you would see inside a marketing department at a big organization. Organizations and their roles are evolving quickly from new technology that's being introduced all the time. Roles are fused together, so while you see the same name at the top, just like when you search for Chinese food, you might end up at an Asian fusion restaurant. It's similar with roles in organizations. And then there's deeper focus areas, things like SEO or email marketing have deep focus, yet they're covered within a single lesson of a single course of an entire degree. A lot of this problem is due to a lack of visibility. Educators don't have any visibility into the departments and roles or responsibilities and activities. This is kind of like an iceberg, and you just see the role name at the top, but everything that's happening underneath is invisible. That makes it difficult to align credentials, build curriculum, and create content. Apollo 1 is a collaborative knowledge management platform with gated access based on credentials in your profile, which allows for us to share anonymous content across organizations. That means that people can come in and vote based on their domain area, and we can start to create a new curriculum based on what people say they agree on, and what are the outliers. Sorry, we'll skip for time, but that's phase one, where how we create our curriculum, and then we align existing content and map it to that curriculum once we've gained agreement. And then we're able to come in and add new content to fill the skill gap. The benefits are this is very quick. We can cast a wide net and get a whole bunch of people involved at the same time. It's certified. When people vote, they're not only voting for themselves, but they're voting for the organization they represent. And it's modular. There's access to knowledge. It's determined by the credentials inside your profile. And so it allows for interoperability between organizations, so your access to knowledge is shared. Our business model is pretty simple. We take 1% on licensing of all the content. The size of this is actually quite large. The global e-learning market, 1% of that is $2.75 billion per year. The 1% of corporate training is $1.3 billion per year. And 1% of global higher education is $19 billion in revenue per year. I am a specialist in decentralized autonomous organizations and knowledge management. Genevieve focuses on community and operations. We are looking for investment of money, time, and resources, but more importantly, we believe that everybody is a guru, and we believe that your vote counts. So we want everyone to join the revolution. Come in and tell us what you want. When we come together and we say what we want, and then we validate with our vote and say that's what we need, that's how we can fill the skill gap by this time next year. Thank you.
Any questions, anyone? What was he voting?
Voting is important.
Who's your ideal customer?
For right now, I mean, this could work for everyone, but I think initially you can see problems. Like Google, for instance, has stopped requiring a degree altogether. And they have specialized areas like AI, where courses are being created on Coursera, and they're having to point people to those. So to be able to build out curriculum like that and gain consensus and agreement and start building to what the companies need, and then you can add things on top of that, that's kind of the way we would kind of move out from there. Oh.
If I understood, this feels rather broad. Did you consider going into a single vertical?
Well, it's kind of like what I was talking about with him, where AI presents an opportunity, I think, because there's not a whole lot of content there. I think marketing organizations actually are evolving quite quickly, and I pointed out, because that's my area where I was at for a long time, but there is a massive gap there. The amount of training that's going into teaching is not teaching people to work in a marketing organization at all anymore.
And yet those are sort of functional
They're-
spaces rather than industry spaces.
Yeah, but we can combine it because we're building up at modular levels, so it's gated access across, so we can actually, it can evolve and be for anything. Like, I think there's a missing opportunity for product management and project management, which are really horizontal verticals that are horizontal instead of vertical, and those are kind of completely missed, actually. We focus on marketing, we focus on finance, we focus on supply chain, but these competencies have not been addressed at all.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks.
Good evening. So it was on 2015 when I looked up for a $10,000 investment to start Reto. We have bootstrapped since then and changed completely healthcare education in Mexico. So it's an honor, and I'm really proud to be here. So thanks for listening. I'm going to start with telling you the story of Eduardo Jimenez. Eduardo comes from 3 generations of doctors, a lot of medicine history in his family. Since he was a child, we know he was meant to be a doctor. So indeed, he studied medicine for 6 years. He graduated, but he wanted more. He wanted to become a specialist. But for that, in Mexico, you have to approve the INARM, which is the Mexican Medical Board exam. So he immersed for a year studying for the INARM. Unfortunately, he didn't pass. So he invested a second year, a third, a fourth, and it wasn't until the 5th that he passed the exam. But Eduardo is not the only one. Every year, around 45,000 doctors try this exam, and less than 18% pass the exam. And you did a weird face, but that happens in all medical board exams all around the world. And it also happens with lawyers, college aspirants in Mexico, finance and banking certifications. The lack of success is due that they don't have a clear guide of what, when, and how to study. They don't know their weaknesses, and principally in Mexico and Latin America, they don't have monetary resources to buy big publisher books nor attend on offline courses. So, good afternoon. My name is Carlos Roca, and I'm going to try to explain you a little bit of how with Reto we are trying to improve our users' study performance. With Reto NARM, our first and only available product, we have obtained more than 100,000 doctors using our free version, converting 15% of them to our paid version. That accounts for around 56% of the market over the last 3 years. Also, we did our research with the Faculty of Medicine of Tec de Monterrey, which is the biggest private university of Mexico, demonstrating that our product helps improve their probabilities to pass the exam for at least 17%. So yes, as I told you, we have bootstrap until now. We have validated our product and the market, and we're about to launch Reto Universidad for helping college students, high school students prepare for college, Reto Bursátil for finance and banking certifications in Mexico, and of course continue growing our medicine vertical. We're about to launch Reto Mir for Spain's medical board exam, and hopefully Peruvian and Colombian by the end of this year. And on parallel, we just started raising a 500,000 investment round, obviously to grow our team. Thank you. This is our current team, some of the companies that have trusted us, and thanks.
Thanks, Carlos. Any questions?
Please.
How much do you charge for premium customers?
Around $30. It has been a totally mistake. No, lifetime. Yeah, less than $30, 549 pesos for a lifetime product. We have users that have been using our product since the day we launched. So, of course, we're changing to a subscription model. Thanks.
You said such a resource does not exist in Mexico. So from a pedagogical or even pricing point of view, can you look to the US and copy American models and take them to Mexico?
Could you repeat?
How to teach and also how to price.
On the price, we're changing. Our average usage of our product is 7.5 months. But on average, a doctor in Mexico tries the exam for 5 years. So it's a really nice recurring market, right? So we want to change to an annual membership for around $150 a year. Reto Universidad and all verticals, where of course the pricing is going to be different. Sorry.
How many different verticals and different types of apps do you think you could apply your concept to?
It was a really tough decision last year, deciding to go try to college and finance banking certifications. Now, of course, we're going to launch it. We already have 100% of the content, but we're going to focus on medicine. We're going for the Spain board exam, Peru, Colombia, Argentina, and we have a really ambitious plan here in the States for Spanish-speaking doctors.
Carlos, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Does this work? Can you hear through this? Yeah. Is that okay? All right. It's more comfortable. I think we've lost the font, so it usually looks better than this, the presentation, but I think when we sent it over, it's gone back to Times New Roman or something. So I apologize for that. My name's Chase Williams. I'm the CEO at UCrew, and we've developed a modern student portal platform called Campus, which helps universities and colleges solve key problems that they face. As many of us in this room likely know, universities and colleges face many challenges. Some relate simply to staying alive, such as recruiting more students or retaining more students through to graduation. Others relate to the siloed nature of these large institutions, which cause inefficiencies and disintegration of data and systems across the institution. And others relate to merely communicating with students in 2019 or providing quality support to students across the board. And unfortunately, while that's still happening, institutions continue to implement decades-old student portals that look like this and have little or no impact on those problems. This really is golden real estate within the digital student experience, which we feel has or is very poorly utilised. And as you can see from the TDX study on the right, IT leaders in the market, they tend to agree with us. So we've decided to take advantage of that opportunity. We've developed a modern student portal which connects prospects, students and alumni across their life cycle with everyone and everything they need access to right now, and that's important to their success. We connect them with relevant systems, with relevant people, groups, services and organisations, with tasks that they need to complete, and with information and announcements that they need right now. And in doing so, we actually help our partners solve the key problems that they face. And we've got the case studies to prove it. So one such example is St. Leo University. They replaced their Microsoft SharePoint portal with Campus. They increased portal usage from 55% to 97% in terms of weekly logins. They increased views on critical communications 3 times in some instances. And using campus engagement data that was coming from our platform, they're now able to intervene with certain students 2.5 weeks earlier than they were previously. And taken together, since implementing the platform, they've been able to increase term-over-term retention. And what's more, a number of the staff that implemented the platform at St. Leo have actually come over and joined our team, including Jeff Borden. So we have a growing partner pipeline. We expect to double that pipeline to around 15 to 20 partners by this summer. Our partners license the platform on a per user per annum basis, and they pay initial setup fees. And we're actually offering discounts right now to institutions we think would be outstanding case studies for our company. We're doing a round this summer. It's going to be a seed round of $1.5 million up, we hope. And we think this will get us through to break even. And we're going to be spending a lot of that money continuing to improve our product. That's what we think is important. Thank you.
It looks like all you're doing is reconfiguring a web page. Talk just a little bit about the whole backend piece and how you have this crazy mess of disjointed databases in higher ed and how that's part of what you're doing.
Yeah, so behind the modern interface that is Campus, we have an integration layer which we call Flow internally, where we can actually take disparate systems within an institution and connect them up to provide data to flow through as notifications or to flow through so students can search the data that's coming through from other systems and things like that within Campus. But as well as that, the Flow integration layer also allows institutions that we're going to be working with from this summer to hook up systems and share data between systems independently of actually hooking up to Campus as well. So we've got a couple of partners really looking at this and are really excited about how they can actually connect their entire ecosystem of systems together with this platform and also push relevant data through the Campus experience to make it more seamless and intuitive for students.
So what sets you apart from competitors such as Salesforce with the single sign-on type of program for higher ed?
Trying to go back here a little bit. So in terms of this single sign-on platform, I mean, effectively the outdated or the existing portals are providing single sign-on out to other systems. One big difference is really the groups area where we build community and allow for improved communication. In terms of the groups area, we allow our partners to actually dynamically attribute membership to groups based on a student's profile. So if you're a first-in-family student, you might be a veteran, you might be a freshman, all those different kinds of attributes, we can automatically put you in groups so that now when you're in there, you're receiving posts from administrators, they're getting notifications through modern channels, and we can help the institution build community, which we know is a proxy for improving retention and things of that nature. So it goes, our slogan is beyond a portal because we go a long way beyond just providing single sign-on links to other platforms. Yep.
This seems like a very challenging enterprise sale, and that too into higher ed,
Mhm.
which doesn't help matters. I noticed you have Rutgers, which is impressive. What is your sales process or strategy?
So we're usually selling to the CIO. It's a long sales process, but it's usually in the fiscal year from July 1 to June 30. I think we are bringing a lot of things together, but I think because the experience is so outdated, and I mean, students can't even access these platforms and use them really from mobile. So that when we're coming in and providing a mobile native app-based experience with the web experience, it really does appear as such a no-brainer to the institutions that they're prepared to kind of put in the work that will come with implementing it. But it is some work in terms of implementing our platform, for sure.
All right, Chase, thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. All right, a little response. Okay. All right. Did you know that over 15 million students in the United States are failing, despite over $10 billion being spent by our federal and state agencies to improve student performance? The problem that we see in most urban and rural school districts is that they use disjointed academic intervention systems. And what I mean by that is the assessments, the program that's used to benchmark and identify students' readiness, they're purchased by company A, or the analysis is purchased by company B. And then the actual pullouts, the tier 2 and tier 3 instruction uses a whole different program or set of systems. There's no integration. And just give you a visual, it's like a Frankenstein model, bringing all these parts together. The way that we intervene is we provide a comprehensive integrated intervention system where our assessments, our analytics, and our online tutoring all speaks to one another. It provides a district the ability to standardize their intervention and effectively measure and drive student growth. The way that we do this is we innovate and we integrate. We make the data very clear with our science. We pinpoint the deficiencies that students have, and then we also provide authentic instruction and tactics for teachers to close those gaps. And we do that with our educators. We also do that with our online tutors that infuse social emotional learning and exposure along with the data-driven instruction. Our teachers, our educators, our administrators, they get it. And that's why we've been so successful so far. We're at over 100,000 in ARR and over 200,000 in the last 14 months. And on top of that, we're bootstrapped. We have a very strong pipeline, and these are some of our measured impact and outcomes. It took an engineer and an educator to create Intervene. Myself, Aaron McLeod, I'm the CEO and an engineer, and my business partner and co-founder, chief learning officer, he's a teacher with over 10 years working in data and in the classroom. The ask, our fundraising ask, we're looking to raise our first round of $1.5 million. And just a couple fast facts, we're revenue positive, we're capital efficient, and we're bootstrapped. And we're gonna be using this money to expand our technology and move into multi-state. The ROI over the next 12 to 18 months, our target is over 2.5 million and reaching over 30,000 students. And if you think back to the first point that I made, it's over 15 million students that are failing. Imagine if we can move those 15 million students into the workforce of today and tomorrow, the effects that we do together on our economy. Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes.
Are you using proprietary instruments that are providing you the data, or are you aggregating data on the student that is coming from multiple sources of existing?
So we do both. So a lot of times our clients have existing programs of assessment and analytics. they'll export that in a CSV, and we'll run that through our analytics. The actual assessments we create, we have content that's aligned to the state. We're in Houston, Texas, so we primarily are working in that state. And so what we do is we develop content that's directly aligned and cloned off of their existing previous exams. And based off that, we give the campuses and the districts the ability to benchmark their students, and it runs through our system. So it's two ways. I'm gonna make up a question if nobody asks.
How do you price your product?
Good question. All right, let me, okay. So we actually have 4 systems, but I'm gonna talk about 3. We have assessments, analytics, and the online tutoring. It's approximately $530 per student. And okay, so let me just break it down just a little bit more. Our assessments are gonna be a student or a teacher license or a campus license. Our analytics are a student per student license. And then our tutorials, we do them in courses around the data. So we'll set up a data-driven targeted course. And it comes to about $530, but it's $30 per student on the analytics, $5,200 per campus on the assessments, and then about $457 for the course, tutorial course. And that gives us a margin of about, on the tutorials, about $40 per student.
Is this primarily a pitch about doing good, so the social return or the financial return? And if the former, can you also apply for foundation funding or whatever that is?
So that's a good question. I'm old school. We want a return on investment. So there's a double bottom line. We want to see our students, or this market, we want to move them into this workforce because we're losing brilliance in these students that are failing. So we look at it as 2. But as far as foundation funding, that is something we haven't explored yet, but we're definitely open to that. We know that there's a couple foundations specifically that are working with school social impact companies. So we just haven't explored it yet. Yes, ma'am.
Have you looked into the SBIR, STTR
Yes.
funding from the government? So I have an NSF grant in EdTech, but the Department of Education also gives grants for education technology. And if you're lucky enough to get one, it's an excellent source of zero equity funding for education students.
I'd love to talk to you about that after this, but yes, that is something we're absolutely open to.
All right, we'll end on that note. Take care.
Thanks.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ocean Salazar. I'm the CEO of Studioso. And what we've developed is a music education platform that makes it easier for both teachers and students to learn music. So to begin, I'd like to highlight Studioso's philosophy on music education as a whole. At Studioso, we believe that music education is more than just an addition to the school's overall curriculum. We see music education as a catalyst that fuels students' academic, personal, and cognitive growth. The research suggests this, as music education has been proven to increase IQ, test scores, as well as in-school attendance. However, music education has a big problem. It has a 50% dropout rate in less than 2 years of students starting. Studioso has addressed 2 primary drivers of this dropout rate. First, it may come as no surprise to many of you that students hate practicing. They hate practicing primarily because they're putting in a lot of time and effort and get very little progress in return. Additionally, there's another dynamic. Their teachers are very disorganized when they're still communicating using verbal and pen and paper communication to their students, and students are unsure of what to practice when they get home. Studioso has developed a streamlined system to address these 2 issues. First, we allow music teachers to clearly communicate their weekly objectives to students. We guide students' practice, teaching them the most efficient practice methods. That way they're making more progress in less time. And finally, we track progress so that teachers can stay more informed and students are more motivated. We operate a SaaS business model of $2 per student per month. And given the domestic market, we've estimated that our total available market is about $2 billion. We've just entered this market with 4 pilot schools, McPhail, which is a private music education institution, 2 high schools, and 1 middle school. Furthermore, we have over 150 interested leads that we've garnered over the past year as we were developing our product. Now, to meet this demand, Studioso is going to be raising its first round. We have been completely bootstrapped to date. We've developed our beta, and we're currently live. But in order to meet all of this demand that we've had and continue our development and marketing, we are raising our first round of $250,000. Now, to conclude, I'd like to highlight how music education as a whole is ripe for innovation. And in order to unlock its full potential, it needs to have this technological integration that it's been missing. We believe that Studioso is the right company to bring music education into the future. Thank you. Yeah.
First of all, fantastic name.
Thank you.
And you said music education, so which instruments are supported?
Yeah, so Studioso works for both the private and the institutional side. The institutional being like school music programs as well as one-on-one instruction, and is compatible for all instruments and vocal. And part of how we get that compatibility is we integrate the teachers into the system, where the teachers are the ones that are giving these practice methods, these techniques, so that whenever we bring on a new teacher, it's adding to the community. Yeah.
For a selected piece that a student's working on but practicing, you have the direct violin concerto and the 2 pieces.
Yeah.
Is the teacher identifying what those learning outcomes are, or is that already built into?
Yeah, so the way it works, I'll just go back to, actually maybe you can, yeah, I'll go back to one of these mock-ups here. The teacher will identify some instructions that they have for the student, and then a technical focus that they want the student to focus on during that week. And then when the student goes home, it'll auto-sort through a bunch of practice methods written by teachers so that it'll teach the student how best to practice based on that technical focus. Yeah.
Is on the teacher side, is there a sign-on where they're able to batch out specific types of assignments for students, or do they have to go in individually to every single student?
Yeah, so there's a group compatibility as well. If you have an orchestra, band, or choir, they can send out assignments to sections, the entire group, or individual students. Yeah, for sure. So students, if they can download the student app, currently it's free for the consumer side, but they just create their own objectives and then do their own practice, and they can track their own progress. So yeah. All right, thanks.
The world is changing faster than ever before. Things like machine learning, artificial intelligence, AI are revolutionizing entire industries, yet the corporate training field is stuck in the 1980s. This $320 billion market spends most of its budget on instructor-led training, where trainers from around the, executives from around the globe come together for a 3-day offsite and listen to a leadership development coach or a sales enablement coach lecture for 3 days straight, and then maybe they'll do some exercises at the end. Ultimately, it's not very engaging, and it doesn't take that leap into application. And just to point out how slow to adapting technology it is, the LMS market, which is the main kind of hot buzzword in tech, in corporate learning, is only 10 billion of the 320. Problem in this training environment as it exists today, it's extremely costly to bring these very important executives away from their office to this offsite for 3 days. It's time away from work. These coaches also are traveling around the globe. And things like Zoom aren't making it any better. The common anecdote is that these executives, when they're forced to watch the training on Zoom, the entire time they're under their table texting or getting their emails done. And the solution, virtual reality. My team has been working in VR for the last 2 years. We launched our first application doing instructor-led training, English training in East Asia, and have since been asked by Fortune 500s, can we use this platform to connect trainers in one area of the globe with learners dispersed throughout? So instead of connecting these executives for a 3-day offsite, we'll ship the VR directly to them for more micro-learning 1-hour sessions that aren't focused on consuming lectures, but much more so applying learnings in real-world settings. We've built over 50 different scenarios for these leaders to apply these learnings, such as the high-stakes conversation of firing someone who's probably pretty angry, or leadership development. How can you actually do that in a real-world application? That's where VR really fits the need. What sets us apart? We're the first virtual reality platform that connects trainer and learner in VR, and then simultaneously we've built APIs with the various LMSs so that you can track progress and what else? Yeah, track progress, coordinate schedules, and send evaluations to the learners. Traction, like I said, we started 2 years ago, raised $600,000. This particular main product is now being piloted by Procter & Gamble, Microsoft, PwC, and Micron. Our team, I'm really proud of these folks. We're young, we're moving really fast. We've got 2 of the top VR engineers in Southern California, and we're really excited about what we're up to. My name's Quinn Tabor, and I'd love to chat more. I'll be standing up front and would love to connect. Thanks, guys. Yeah.
It's really hard to teach somebody how to maintain a particular factory system, or right? Like that seems like the natural first place to start. So I'd love to hear you talk about that topic.
Yeah, great question. There are a number of folks that are doing that technical training, and our hypothesis is that the best VR is actually social VR. It's where you're connecting folks from around the globe in this distributed way and engaging in scenarios that otherwise you couldn't even do in an offsite. So we really have built a unique set of scenes and experiences that would be really hard to recreate outside of VR. Yeah. Yep, so we price it per headset. We work with the L&D directors to send the headsets to these target executives around the globe, and we start at $250 per month per headset, and then they can use it at their disposal.
All right, Quinn, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Co-founder and CEO, and we are the the Netflix of medical education. So what we actually do is we go out and curate and create really high quality educational videos from expert physicians at the leading academic medical centers, and then we distribute that library on demand to medical professionals globally. So as you guys all know, this is a really big and complex problem. This is true for medical students in the classroom setting, all the way to practicing physicians earning continuing medical education credits. Now, despite what John says from Abligence, we think that video is a very powerful learning tool, and here's what we're doing. So first, we're building the largest library of CME-accredited medical lectures in the world. The thought here is now any medical professional can log on to giblib.com and access any relevant lecture relevant to them. The second thing we're doing is we are filming and indexing every surgical procedure in every specialty from A to Z, featuring top physicians in Ultra HD and also in 360 virtual reality. Now, this product is extremely exciting for the medical community, and we've received phenomenal feedback because this is the first time that it's actually ever been done. So our business is really built around these 3 key pillars. As I mentioned, we're curating this content from the best doctors out there because we believe that everyone should learn from the best. Second, we're creating this content in the most innovative and compelling formats. Right now, that's 4K and 360 virtual reality. And then last, we're streaming this on demand, providing access anywhere, anytime. So when I say we're working with the best partners out there, we literally mean the best. So we generate revenue via subscription model. Two strategies here. Medical schools and residency programs subsidize this cost for their trainees, but our primary paying audience is actual individual physicians. So this is a really busy slide, but the take home here is that every 2 people that sign up for a free 4-day trial, 1 will convert to a paying user. For every $1 that we spend in marketing to acquire that customer, they return about $4 to $5. And that's with a minimal library, just releasing 1 new video a week in that specialty. So to kind of just wrap things up, in our first year of revenue generation to prove out our model, we were able to show the willingness to pay. In fact, we generated about $200,000 in revenue. We partner now with 6 of the top 10 hospitals, including our biggest partner, which is the Mayo Clinic. We launched the first ever CME accredited medical surgical procedure course in virtual reality. We've been part of 3 accelerators, including here, USC Rossier Edventures. We've raised $2.5 million in seed capital to date, and some of our notable investors include Mayo Clinic, the Venture Reality Fund, Wavemaker 360, and Michelson 20mm. So we approach medical education very uniquely, and you'll see that in our team. I actually have about 10 years of healthcare experience. Most recently, I worked for Intuitive Surgical, which is a surgical robotics company. When I quit my job to pursue this full-time, I quickly realized I was in the content business. So I recruited my co-founder, Ji-Hei Shin, who I knew through business school at USC. Prior to quitting her job, she was the manager of digital content distribution at Paramount Pictures. We decided from the onset that we were going to blend the best practices from entertainment, technology into education. So our tech team, you can see here, our CTO, formerly a NASA JPL individual, and then our content creators are all formerly trained film folks. So we actually are currently raising additional capital, and I'm happy to talk to any investors afterwards. Thank you very much. Yes. Yeah. So what's your name and where are you from? Okay, yep. So yeah, absolutely. What we found is that actually CME accreditation is a nice to have. When we put up the course of CME accredited lectures versus just the same lectures without it, there was no difference in usage. But that is our goal, is to provide the CME accreditation. We see it as a digital alternative to the physical meeting space. Yeah, so counter to what our data said in terms of user behavior, early on we thought medical students were actually our main customer. They used the platform the most, but actually when it came to the economics, they would cancel after about 2-3 months. So they were actually really expensive to acquire from a digital strategy. They would consume a lot of information and then they would cancel. So it would cost us about maybe $300 to acquire it, but we would only return $100. So as soon as we realized that and we looked at the physician audience who used the product minimally but never canceled, that's where you saw that drastic decline. Yep, so right now, our primary paying customer is the physician audience. We do have nurse practitioners. We have a lot of perioperative nurses on there. We don't create content for them yet just because of a limited bandwidth on our team, but because of the CME accreditation for the physicians, they actually fall underneath that umbrella. One thing that we will eventually do is create content kind of back into the residency programs and medical students and make content specifically for them, but that's ultra competitive. There's a lot of companies that are kind of recreating that curriculum where we want to play in the space that has the bigger audience and are paying us with a better return there.
So, I mean, I just looked closely at this. How was it getting cameras into the operating room?
Yeah, so we put this up there as a joke because this always makes our investors laugh. One of our secret sauces is how we get into OR and how we film. We use multi-camera capture techniques, but really in the video editing is our sweet spot there. But we produce much higher quality videos than the medical community has seen at a cost of fraction of what they're able to do in-house. And that really is because of the expertise of my co-founder and recruiting formerly trained film folks. Well, it's a real picture, but I put it in there as a joke. So, all right, thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. I'm Anthony Maddox. I'm with the USC Rasir Center for Engineering in Education. We want to thank you for coming today. This is a bold way of trying to actually put more education into the world of venturing in EdTech. So we believe that a School of Ed is a good place to kind of bring together entrepreneurs, educators, and engineers to kind of solve some of the intractable, difficult problems in education. So this particular first cohort of founders, you can see the variety of different kinds of things that they're doing. We have also USC OCL students, Organizational Change and Leadership, EDD students here with us. So we want to invite you afterwards to kind of talk with us a little bit, find out how we're actually building this. We're a startup ourselves. You know, in that sense that we normally, a lot of our centers are around research-oriented policies, higher urban education, things of that sort, but now what we're starting is a center of practice, where we're blending different kinds of disciplines, and I'm an engineer, so I'm a science teacher educator now, and so I see education and the world differently. So let's pull all of our ideas together, and we want to say, again, thank you for coming, and again, when we get an opportunity, let's just chop it up a little bit, and again, have a great day.